We start with Shoya Ishida, who is planning to end his life on April 15th. The sound of life that he has blocked off in his vision and ears is replaced by static, stating that he has cleared his mind and will end his own life. So, on April 15th, he goes to a bridge to jump. Until that showed him that life isn't worth ending. He decides to face the guilt that has been choking him since forever. But what guilt, you say? Let me take you back to 6th grade. This is where Shoya is a little mischievous kid, having fun with his friends and having a good life, and fun life overall. One day, a new girl joins his class, Shoko, and she happens to be deaf. She instantly is a popular kid among the class, but not in the right way, as she's instantly getting teased by a lot of kids. Mainly by Naoka and her friends, and Shoya and his friends. And gradually, this teasing becomes bullying. As they wanted the class to learn sign language, one girl wanted to learn it. And that girl was Miyoko. Miyoko grew close to Shoko, and was then also a target for bullying. Until that she actually leaves the school. Now that Shoko has no friends, she desperately wants to be friends with Shoya, but he disregards it immediately and continues to bully her by throwing her hearing aids and stuff like that with the others. But one day, he ripped out her hearing aids. But after she started bleeding, because he didn't know the consequences to his actions, he started feeling very bad. And that act made her ear permanently damaged. Then, at a not so surprising day, Shoko doesn't show up. She had been the target for bullying for so long that her mother has decided to do something about it. The school asks the class who's been bullying her, and though Shoya wants to say that he was one of the ones who did it, the teacher immediately calls him out and gets mad about it. His friends get called out to tell what they thought about it, but none of them confessed they bullied her as well, and just pin it on Shoya. And Shoya tried to tell them they did it as well, but no one believed him. Shoya feels lost, and when he came home, his mom got involved, and they went to apologize to Shoko's family immediately. Then, Shoya's mom, Miyako, gets her earring ripped out by Shoko's mom, Yaiko. Out of anger, and to show her what her son did to her daughter when he ripped out her hearing aids, so she can also feel the pain she did. From that day on, Shoya got bullied as well. By his former friends and some other classmates, because he tried to out them for their actions, and ultimately he was left all alone. Shoya knows he's a terrible person, and when he sees that Shoko cleans his desk from all the hate that the classmates drew on it, he doesn't know why she keeps being so nice to him after all that he's done, and the repressed anger from all the bullying he has endured, the intense emotional feelings that he cannot ignore like Shoko. It's too much for him. He proceeds to take his anger out on Shoko, and they get in a serious fight. After it, he just can't take how horrible of a person he is compared to her, and it pisses him off. The guilt of him knowing he's a horrible person and did atrocious things for no apparent reason in the past chokes him every day. So when he decided not to jump off the bridge, he decided to set some things straight. He wanted to talk to Shoko after all these years, and decided that when he sees her, he can give the notebook back that he had. He sees Shoko and decides to talk to her, but she gets extremely flustered and runs away because she too doesn't know what to make of the situation and runs away from it. He catches up and makes sure to make it clear that he isn't ill-intended and signs to her that he's here to make up, which means that he learned sign language just for her and that maybe they can become friends. That one thing that she wanted all those years ago. He now realizes that after all he's done, it was a dumb thing to ask. Even now that he decided not to end his life, he is still in the terrible mindset that he's still a terrible person and that everyone secretly hates him. He was walking to the bike stall to get home, and somebody's bike was getting stolen. And though he really did not want to get involved, he needed to help the guy. So to stop the other guy from taking his bike, he offers his own bike. Then, later, he wants to see Shoko, but gets stopped by a little boy, claiming to be Shoko's boyfriend, prohibiting him from coming near her. So, he gives up. But on his way home, he gets stopped by a guy. This is Tomohiro. He's the guy he saved by offering his bike to the other guy. And he specially found Shoya's bike to thank him. This sentiment is so incredibly nice that he realizes that he really cares about him. That he would do that for him. He finds it amazing. They become friends. Though Shoya doesn't really know what friends are, as he's been deprived from genuine kindness that he doesn't know how to deal with it. But somewhere in his mind, he feels relieved that he has found someone that cares for him like this. Now that he's been thinking about friendship and all, and that he's found a friend even, it gives him the courage to try and talk to Shoko. He gets stopped at first, but Shoko wants to talk with him too. They have a bit of a heartfelt conversation, as both of them didn't really know how to deal with it all. But they're glad they got to meet like this, and Shoko thanks him for giving the notebook back to her. She opens it, but Shoya tries to stop her as he doesn't want her to see what for terrible person he was, and he's ashamed of everything he ever wrote in that notebook. And in the commotion, they accidentally drop it in the water, but she goes after it. Even though Shoya tries to stop her, she was just out of reach. And he jumps in himself to make sure she's okay. Luckily, they get it back. The next day, he needs to take a walk with his sister's daughter, Maria. And at the playground, he finds a little boy. Who is it? It's Shoko's boyfriend, Yuzuru. And because he's all alone and dirty, sleeping in a playground, Shoya offers him to eat dinner at his home. So he doesn't get sick and so he can eat something, and eventually Shoya walks him home. This is where he learns that he's actually not Shoko's boyfriend, but in fact Shoko's little sister. And that she lied to him to protect her sister, because she knows what Shoya did to her sister and tried to protect her from getting hurt. But while they're walking, she realizes that Shoya has become a really nice guy, and that he's not ill-intended at all. The next day, now that Shoko and Shoya have become kind of friends, he asks if she wants anyone's phone number so she can text him. She answers with Sahara, Miyoko Sahara, but he didn't know her number. So he decides to find her so Shoko and her could finally meet up and exchange numbers. This sentiment made Shoko really happy. That he would do that for her meant the world. They meet up, and Miyoko is really happy to see Shoko, and has, of course, been learning sign language ever since. They are instantly becoming really good friends, and them reminiscing makes Shoya feel like he doesn't belong, and just feels wrong. So, he decides to leave with an excuse. In his departure, he finds an old friend, Naoka. So he decides to visit where she works and they go to see Shoko. This is where we learn that Naoka is still into teasing Shoko and hasn't changed that much. The next day at school, one of Naoka's old friends, Miki, introduces a guy that really wants to be friends with Shoya. This guy is Satoshi. He's a really upbeat guy, and he despises bullies with his heart. So now that Shoya has a whole friend group with Tomohiro, Satoshi, Shoko, Yuzuru, and Miyoko and such, they go to an amusement park together. They go onto the rides, and Miyoko and Shoya have a heartfelt conversation where she says her perspective on life. She's actually terrified of the rides, but even though she's terrified, she'll give it a shot. She doesn't want fear to control her life, and wants to be free and control of it herself, and try the things she's scared of. And as the ride drops down, she puts her hands in the air. Even though she's scared, she's happy and doesn't let the fear control her. While Shoya grips the bar of the cart in the ride as tight as possible, because he does still let fear control his life a bit. He's scared that everyone thinks he's a terrible person, and he thinks that of himself. So the fear of failing other people, the fear of being hated, the fear of trusting people, it controls him. And it is clearly shown by him gripping the cart rail, or when Naoka makes him face a prior friend that betrayed him. And in his mind, he's putting the X's right back on their faces, showing that he can't trust them, and that it was a mistake trusting them. He's haunted by his past, and him having fun at the amusement park, he feels guilty. He feels that he doesn't deserve to be happy, and he questions himself if it's okay for him to be happy. His mind, the fear, it's blocking him from living. The next day, Satoshi says that Miki told him how the past was difficult for Shoko, that she was bullied, and Shoya doesn't like she's telling people about the past, because he has changed, and he doesn't want people to have preconceived notions of him, or hate him for what happened in the past. So, he confronts Miki, but Miki does what Miki's the greatest at, lying, playing the victim. So she lies and then says the truth about that Shoya was the one that bullied Shoko in front of the whole class, on purpose, because he can't deny it. With his guilty conscience, and the fact that he still feels terrible about everything that he did, the past reliving itself, and he thinks he'll end up all alone again. Now that he's finally happy, makes him sick. And he goes to the bathroom to escape everything. A lot of things go down while all of them meet up again, and Shoya feels like he'll end up all alone, and that nothing even matters anymore, because he'll lose them anyway, for doing the things that he did in the past. Yet, he still has Shoko. So he hangs out with her, but Shoko also blames herself for Shoya's sadness, and she's scared that as long as she's with him, he'll be reminded of everything all the time, and she wants him to be happy because she likes him. But she blames herself for all the reasons that Shoya isn't happy. It breaks her apart. So they hang out a bit more, and they go watch movies and stuff and have fun, and then they go watch the fireworks and learn more about each other at the festival. And Shoya wants to make Shoko happy, to make up to Shoko for all that he's done in the past, all the time, and wants to be great friends with her. This is when Shoko decides to leave, and Shoya says, "See you later," but Shoko just responds with, "Goodbye." Shoya doesn't feel right, and goes to Shoko's house to check on her. She's okay, which where he just sees her on the balcony, and then she jumps. Every time Shoya was with Shoko, he was just out of reach to stop her. But with all he had left, he went to the balcony as fast as he could, tried to reach her, and he was just in time. He tries everything to save Shoko, and blames himself for her jumping, because he reminisces about the past and realizes that he's actually never said sorry to her. After all that she's done to him, he just wants to do one last thing and save her. And with all his might, she could just grasp onto the balcony when he fell off the balcony himself, trying to save her. He thinks, is this the end? Can my end bring a new beginning to her? He's brought to the hospital, where he's on life support and in a coma. A lot happens. Soko tries everything to make it on good terms with everyone for Shoya. And eventually, Shoya, when he's at the verge of death, he wakes up and meets with Shoko on a bridge. That is where he apologizes for everything that he did that made her sad or hurt her. Well, Shoko feels like it's all her fault. Shoya wanted to die for a while too. That's why he almost jumped off that bridge in the beginning. But the past doesn't define who you are. You can change, no matter how alone or sad you are. No matter how useless or worthless you feel. No matter how much life sucks. It doesn't mean you deserve to die. And the people who you love most can help you live. And Shoya wants Shoko to learn him how to live. Everyone in the movie is gradually changed. Even Naoka started to learn sign language to appreciate Shoko. And all of the characters have changed. This story was a story of people learning to love themselves and change for the better. Shoya had so much trauma and guilt built up. But with the help of his friends, he learned that the past is the past. Now you need to realize how much you've changed for the better and to love yourself. The monotony that Shoya has been living in has changed. He's happy now and doesn't let fear control his life anymore. He's grown. He's happy and gets instantly emotional when he finally realizes he gets to live again and be in control, and how he's missed being happy. This was the story of Koe No Katachi, also known as A Silent Voice. It's a movie close to my heart, and I encourage you deeply to go watch it. You might know the story, but the movie has a much harder impact on you, and should still definitely watch it. And after this emotional roller coaster, I hope you can learn to love yourself. Even though you might not think you've changed a lot, and you will always change for the better. And I hope you can learn to love yourself. I hope you can be happy. But with that being said and done, I have one more thing to say, and that is, bye!